Welcome to Southern Glance with Gail. Hi, I'm Gail, and I hope that you enjoy making snickerdoodles because that's what we're making today. So if you like this video, just please subscribe and hit that like button and ring the bell to be notified when the next video comes out. All right, are you ready? Snickerdoodles, it's just a fun name to say. It just makes you snicker. So we're going to start. We're going to start with some ingredients that's the wet ingredients. So first of all, we're going to put 1/2 cup shortening in our pan, actually our bowl. And we are going to beat this and beat this and beat this. Probably for about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you some things after a while. Now I have to tell you a story right now. A long time ago, years and years and years ago, I was making snickerdoodles and ran out of shortening. And so I went over to the neighbors and asked for shortening. They gave me some, but the shortening must have been probably 15 years old. I'm telling you, that shortening was awful looking. So I went home, I threw it out, I went to the store and got new shortening. So if you don't have fresh ingredients, throw the old stuff out and buy new ingredients. So anyway, right here we have 1/2 cup of shortening, and it's fresh. And then 1 stick of butter, and that has been softened just a little bit. You don't want it right out of the refrigerator because then it's really tough to kind of to mash it up. Then we have 1½ cups of sugar, and we're just going to pour this in. And then the last, well, and this is not even wet ingredients because the sugar is not wet. But anyway, we're going to have 2 eggs, and we're just going to dump that right on in. And then we're going to beat this. Now, the good thing about this is that I can let this KitchenAid mixer go and go and go, and I can work on the other stuff. So you're going to watch me, and I'm going to kind of, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Let me put this over here first. We're not going to get it started because then you can't hear so well. But let me tell you what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and mix up, wash the hands just a little bit. You're always washing whenever you're cooking, always. So we're going to get that going. I guess we'll go ahead and get that going first. Okay, you ready? I'm going to stop it just for a minute because I want you to see this. I'm going to take it out. And I want you to notice that this, I'm going to just pull just a little bit of it out because we're going to do some comparisons. I'm going to just take a little bit and I'm going to put it on this plate because I want you to notice the color. To make cookies really good, you really have to beat this really good. So here we go again. And it's going to take probably 5, 6, 7 minutes. I'm not sure. Okay, ready? Go! We're going to stop it just to kind of scrape the sides of it. But I want you to see, here's the next part. See how the color of this is kind of a dark yellow, not really a dark yellow, but that's more creamier looking. And so it's even going to be creamier than that whenever we get through. But I do want to scrape the sides of it. And it has not even been beaten that long. And I'll probably get out of the picture for a little bit, but so I can go do some more things. But I'm beating it up on high for, like I said, several minutes. it's looking really good. I think that might be about what it is, but I'm going to put some more right here. Just a little bit. And you can kind of see and you can't see, it's not very obvious, but this is darker yellow, and then it's a little bit lighter, and then it's the lightest probably that's going to get to go. So anyway, I think that this is probably, if I were doing this myself, I would be mixing up the flour ingredients while this is still running. And it doesn't matter how long it is, it's just that you want to have it run so much that you've got the creamy texture in here. And if it hasn't changed colors on you, then you might not have beat it too long. You might need to beat that just a little bit longer just to get that creaminess in there. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to start with. So now we're going to go with our flour. Now, here's our flour. Like I said in almost every video that we've done, whoops, I need a straw. Okay, for the flour and anything else, I hardly ever shake anything. I never shake the flour. So we're going to go ahead and make a mess, but we're going to put in 2 3/4 cup flour. And I'm going to just go ahead and load it up, use a straw, scrape it off. And I'm going to put it right here in this bowl. That's 1. And then here's going to be 2. And the reason that you scrape off the flour instead of just shaking it down is because if you shake it, you're going to get more flour, and then it's going to be a hard cookie. There's 2. And now we only need 3/4 cup more. And here's 3/4. We're going to pile it full and shake it off. Not shake it off. No. We're just going to scrape it off with the straw. Okay. There's the flour. Let's put this out of the way. And then we've got 2 teaspoons cream of tartar. We're just going to dump that in there. We have 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Just going to dump that in there. And now we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I have to let you know that baking soda I'm very particular with. Because if you get too much baking soda in something, you can taste it. So I don't want anything any more than just 1 teaspoon. Boy. And I don't want any chunks. So actually I'm going to just take my fingers and I'm just going to kind of lightly come over, just making sure that it's only 1 teaspoon. I can see a little bitty clump of baking soda right there. I'm going to kind of smash it so that it's going to be powdery. And I'm going to just dump that in. And that's all the dry ingredients. Just give it a swirl. You don't have to do it too much, but we do want to mix the salt and the cream of tartar and the baking soda in. We're done with the baking soda. Let's put that away. And now whenever I add this to the cookies, we don't hardly stir it all. We're going to put this in here. We're just going to barely get it so that it's mixed up. Okay, there's that. Now let's see. Don't want to make a mess. So I bet it's not even 30 seconds. And I'm doing it on low. We don't want it to splatter. But I do want to scrape the sides. Okay, maybe that'll work. We're going to continue. We just want to mix that flour in, but we don't want to over mix it. And we're just using a very low mixer. It's almost done. I'm going to scrape it one more time. And before I forgot, the very first thing you should do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Sorry, I forgot to say that. And so go ahead and, if you haven't, go ahead and preheat your oven. Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. It's looking pretty good. Okay. now we are done. My hands feel like I need to wash them, so I'm going to not really wash them with soap and water, but just kind of get all the stuff off of them. And now we get to cook it. Because making the cookie dough really is kind of easy to do, and it doesn't take that long. I imagine you have cookies that you have really liked and you would like to make them. But the key about cookies, it seems like you always have a two-step process. You always try to mix the first part, which has the eggs and the sugar in it, and you try to mix that and mix it really, really, really well. And then whenever you're adding the flour, you hardly mix it at all. But you do need to mix it so that it's creamy. Okay, let's see how this is looking. Now, if you're like me, whenever you were a little girl, you always wanted to lick the beater. But nowadays, they say not to do that if it has raw eggs in it. But I still might take a little dab of it here or there. Okay, that might be about all we're going to get. Okay, so now you can see what this looks like. It looks really good. And we are ready for that. So let's go ahead and put this away. Wash our hands one more time. And now we're going to get out 3 heaping tablespoons of sugar and about 3 small teaspoons of cinnamon, and swirl them together, and that's what this is. And so now I'm going to go ahead and move my mixer away because we don't need that anymore. Move it. Okay. And now we've got our place so that we can work. So we're going to use one of these things. I just think this is so cool. It's like an ice cream scoop, but it's not really an ice cream scoop. It's a cookie scoop. You can use it for watermelon or whatever, but I use it for cookies. And so we're just going to dip it. And this is where you do have to use your hands just a little bit. We're going to put this right in this cinnamon and sugar. We're going to toss it around very, very lightly. And we're going to put it on a cookie sheet. But this cookie sheet has parchment paper on it. The reason it has parchment paper is because it makes the cookies softer. It doesn't make them brown on the bottom so much. And you really have to kind of make the cookies the way that you want it. If you like it so that it's crispy, then you might not use it. But I like the way that the parchment paper makes cookies, so I always use parchment papers. So anyway, and they're not perfect, but you kind of get the idea. We're going to go ahead and just put these cookies, and what I try to do is 4 by 3. I have 3 in a row and 4 rows. So altogether 12. I have 1 dozen cookies on each cookie sheet. And then we're going to slap it in the oven, probably for 8 or 9 minutes until it gets just a little bit brown. Not very much brown, because if you cook it a long time, it's going to get harder. So you don't want the hard cookies. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you want crispy cookies. I just don't. I want mine soft and chewy. Okay, so we're about halfway there. Now, whenever I cook this, I've got another cookie sheet. So as soon as I put this one in the oven, then I get the next one starting, and I get it all ready. Now, I'm kind of weird, I guess, because I only like cooking, or baking, I should say, 1 cookie sheet at a time, because I want them all even. Sometimes I feel like with my oven, if I put the 2 cookie sheets in there, then sometimes it kind of messes it up, the cookies, and I don't have so much control over it. So I don't mind spending the time. You just have to realize if you want to spend the time or not. If you don't, then put 2 cookie sheets in the oven, 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, and just kind of keep an eye out for how long you're going to cook them. Okay, and we're almost done with this. This probably bakes about 3 to 4 dozen. And if you want them bigger than this, just go ahead and take a spoon, a tablespoon or so, and just make them bigger. There's nothing wrong with it. You make them the size that you want, because after all, they're your cookies. You have the deciding say over what happens with your cookies. Okay, so now we've got our cookies all ready. We are going to put them in the oven at 350 degrees, top shelf. And we're going to time it for 8 minutes. Okay, we're back. It's been 8 minutes. We're going to see how it looks. And if it's, I don't think it's probably going to be done. No, but it's almost. Probably about another minute. So I did switch it around. And I'm going to pull it out after it's been about a minute. Now let me kind of tell you what I've done since we didn't have the camera rolling. So I kind of cleaned up a little bit, and we have just a little bit more dough. We have this pan ready to go in, but then whenever I take this pan out, we're going to set it on top of the stove and just let it cool, probably for a minute or two, not very long. But then, and I'm going to tell you, well, we've still got about 32 seconds. We're going to get a newspaper like this, and we're going to put the newspaper on the counter. Kind of protects the counter from the cookies. So about like this, and then I'm going to get paper towels. Hold on, I forgot the paper towels. And we're going to put paper towels right on top of the newspaper. The newspaper is going to absorb all that grease so that it's going to protect the counter. And for some reason, it just makes the cookies really soft. Okay, hold your thoughts. Here we go. They are out. So look what they look like. Okay, they look, I might stick them back in about 30 more seconds. We'll see, and then we'll take them off. I don't want to cook them too long. But anyway, so as soon as they're have been cooling on the cookie sheet for probably just a couple or 3 minutes, then we're going to transfer the cookies over here to this paper towel on top of the newspaper. Okay? And then the thing about cookies, you want to serve them hot and fresh. And you can serve them after they've been cooled down. It doesn't matter. Okay. These are done. We're going to immediately put the next batch in. Set the timer for 8 minutes. And just let these kind of sit over here for about a minute. Or 2. Or 3. You don't want to set them too long. Now here's the key. If you cook the cookies a little bit too long, you don't want to sit them there but much longer than a minute, because the cookie sheet is still really hot and it's still kind of baking the cookies. So the longer that you keep them there, the longer they're going to cook. So here's the last part of it. After they have completely cooled, then just put them in a closed-in container. What I do is I just get this little container, put some paper towels in it, and then put the cookies in there, close them tight, and you're ready. But whenever you are, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these cookies out. And notice what happens. The cookies are flattening up. That means they're really going to be good. So now, we're just going to go ahead and put them right up here, let them cool. But go ahead and grab you one. They are really, really yummy. Oh, and there goes my husband, Gary. He's grabbing one. And it's hot and fresh. I think it hasn't cooled off too much. But that's what we do. We go ahead and grab it while it's fresh. Okay. And then this one is ready for the next batch. I'm going to just set it over here. And then I will be ready. But here you go. You've got nice, hot, fresh Snickerdoodles. Let me see if I can raise them up. Fresh, hot Snickerdoodles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. We might go and do a blueberry cobbler with fresh blueberries from Louisiana. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.